had the pleasure and honor and prosperity and great fun and happiness of being with this company now for a little over 30 years. So and it's an adventure that only gets better all the time. Just to give you a little company background, the Juice Plus company is 48 years old, so we're sneaking up on that 50-year mark. Entered the marketplace that many years ago with a product I'm sure you're all familiar with today. We were the company that invented smoke detectors for the home, and that certainly laid a foundation for great success as the years went by. In the early 80s, introducing water filtration and air filtration products for in-home, again, multi-billion-dollar product lines. And 25 years ago, we entered the field of health technology with Juice Plus and the Juice Plus family of products. And what an amazing find, not only for our own health and well-being, but for those people that we love and come across on a daily basis. And the exciting thing about this is as we've grown over the years, we've been very fortunate to have people come to us on this Monday night call. We've been doing this call for 28 years now. We've never missed a Monday night. But we have been very blessed that we have people that come to us with their knowledge and expertise, their information and inspiration. And we're very blessed tonight to have someone with us that I know you all know and love and admire, and we're just very honored. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, and then he's going to tell you a little bit about some really good things, smart supplements for brain health. But our special speaker this evening is Dr. Bill Sears, MD. Dr. Sears, or Dr. Bill as his little patients call him, has been advising busy parents on how to raise healthier families for over 40 years. He received his medical training at Harvard Medical School's Children's Hospital in Boston and the Hospital for Sick Children in Toronto, the world's largest children's hospital, where he was the associate ward chief of the newborn intensive care unit before serving as chief of pediatrics at Toronto Western Hospital, a teaching hospital of the University of Toronto. He has served as a professor of pediatrics at the University of Toronto, University of South Carolina, University of Southern California School of Medicine, the University of California, Irvine. As the father of 8 children, he coached Little League for 20 years, and together with his wife, Martha, has written more than 40 best-selling books and countless articles on nutrition, parenting, and healthy aging. He serves as a health consultant for magazines, TV, radio, and other media, and the AskDrSears.com website is one of the most popular health and parenting sites. Dr. Sears has appeared on over 100 television programs, including 2020, Good Morning America, Oprah, Today, The View, and Dr. Phil was featured on the cover of Time magazine on May 2012. He is noted for his science-made, simple, and fun approach to family health. So tonight he's going to share a few things with you in regard to the Omega Blend as well. And we're going to start off, Dr. Sears, with a question. I know you are very well known throughout the world and lecture in many places very often. Most of your lectures today are now on brain health. So tell folks a little bit about why that would be and what we're seeing in that department.
Yes, Cheryl, thank you. And I love being with you all tonight because, as Cheryl was telling, I've been on the medical advisory board for the Juice Plus company for 20 years, and along with other companies, but my relationship with Juice Plus as an advisor has been one of my favorite relationships, and I call it the best health club I have ever joined. So all of you on the call, welcome to our club.
Yes.
Now, Cheryl, you mentioned brain health, and this was surprising to me. About 3 years ago, I found that about 90% of my request for lectures around the country and in other countries was on brain health. And I figured out what's going on here. Then I figured there were 2 reasons. Number one, for the first time in history, brain illnesses are now more common in America than heart problems. Usually the heart wins as the sickest organ, but last year, for for the first time in history, the brain outran the heart as the organ with the most illnesses. So brain disease now is at the top of the doctor's list for things we have to treat. Secondly, the brain is the most difficult organ to talk about. Now, I've been a pediatrician now for 51 years, and we have 8 children, as you mentioned, and after that time, you begin to think like a child, talk like a child, write like a child. My wife says act like a child. So I figured out I needed to make the brain, the most difficult organ to talk about, fun and simple. So that's how my interest in the brain began, and in fact, our next book out due a year from now will be totally on brain health.
That's awesome. And you know, now that you say it does seem that I hear more and more as far as brain issues, and certainly something that when I was growing up you never heard of, and even in the last 20 years you didn't hear a lot about this. But
no, and even more concerning, Cheryl, is, you know, we all were concerned about Alzheimer's in older folks, but now this is a startling statistic. The incidence of brain problems is greatest now in the 20 to 40 age group. That is the most rapidly growing age group with all the Ds, I call them, ADD, ADHD, BPD, AD, Alzheimer's disease, depression, the big D. These are most common in the younger people now. So that's why we doctors are, so if I come across too passionate tonight, we doctors are saying, hey, we got to do something, because unlike the heart where you can, the artery gets plugged, you can just ream it out and get on with life, but the brain is not as reversible or treatable, but it is one of the most preventable disease organs. So that's what we want to talk about tonight, is how to have a happier, smarter brain that lasts for 100 years.
And we want it to last 100 years. I think that's a real possibility. Let me just ask you, and this is just my question, what do you think's causing this? I mean, why do you think this is occurring this way?
Well, we know what causes it, Cheryl. It's several causes. Number one, we eat junk food. Now, the brain, above all other organs, is most susceptible, for better or worse, to how you feed it. You put junk food into the brain, and you get back junk behavior. Now, the second reason is that we are on overload, especially the young people. I mean, they are on social media overload from morning till night. I watch my grandkids, and they're like, oh, my gosh, it's been 2 minutes since I've been on my cell phone. I wonder if I'm missing any messages. So they haven't learned. You know, like Mom said, hey, take a deep breath. Go outside and play. And the next reason is we do not eat smart foods anymore. And there's several categories of what I call smart foods. And if you want to talk about the smart foods, that might be a nice way to continue about what are the smartest foods for the brain that we don't eat enough of.
I'd love to hear about this. I'm making notes.
Yeah. Now, remember, we got to keep it simple and fun. It's just everybody's been working hard all day. So tonight you get the pediatrician's version. All right. Now, first of all, good science and common sense go together. So let's start with thinking, what would be the smartest food for the brain? Well, what is the brain mostly composed of? The brain is mostly fat. And a way I get my parents to remember that in the office, I look at them and say, you're a fathead, and you're growing a little fathead. The baby's brain is mostly fat. See, so we're all fatheads. So now, if the brain is mostly fat, doesn't it make sense to eat a right fat diet? So that whole bit about low-fat diets was the dumbest nutritional advice ever to hit America. And it's fortunately it's been all retracted now, because if the brain is mostly fat, you don't want a low-fat diet. You want a right-fat diet. So let's talk about what smart fats are. So the smartest fat, and I know you have a few from up in Canada, the smartest fat is wild Alaskan salmon. That is the number one smartest food that we get plenty of in America. And how much does the brain need? A minimum of 2 fistfuls per week of wild salmon. So if it's a baby fist, it's a baby fistful. A big guy fist is a big guy fistful. So if you went, let's imagine you were going on an imaginary trip, and you have a lot of D's in your family, a lot of brain problems. We call it in our family stuff. We have a lot of stuff in our family. So you hop on a plane and you go to top doc in the world for brain problems. And you walk in there and say, "Doctor, I want the top medicine for my family full of D's, but I'm a science person. I don't want this flaky stuff. I don't want side effects. I want the top number one medicine." The doctor congratulates you on taking charge of your health and scribbles on a prescription pad 2 smart words: "Go fish." Go fish. All right, so that's the smartest food. Now, there are probably listeners that say, "Gosh, 12 ounces a week, 18 ounces a week, boy, that's a lot. I don't like fish, or I don't eat fish because I don't want to take care of the environment and everything." So in that case, then we go to smart supplements. Now, supplements are just that. They fill in the gaps when you can't eat the foods that contain this nutrient. So the smartest number one supplement for brain health are called omegas. So your number one fat in the brain, follow me for a minute on how this is all makes sense. If the brain is mostly fat, 60% fat, and we don't eat enough fat in our diet, and the top fat in the brain is omegas, especially omega-3s, therefore, it makes very simple sense and good science that we need omega supplements for the brain. So that's the top supplement that we in our medical practice and many doctors recommend. And now, because it makes sense. Now, science. Omega, especially omega-3s, are the number one scientifically studied supplement on the planet. Over 22,000 medical journal articles on the health benefits of omegas, especially the brain. So, easy for you to remember how much you need for an omega supplement. And the Juice Plus Omega Blend I want to talk about in a minute. But basically, very easy to remember for all adults, 1 gram a day. That's it, 1 gram a day. So you look on the package, whatever supplement you have, and you do the math, and you add up the milligrams of the 2 smartest fats, DHA and EPA, those are the smart fats, and those 2 must add up to 1,000 milligrams a day. Now, so that's how much to take. Now, where to get it? Well, there are, I find in my medical practice, and other doctors do too, that there are many people who are going what we call vegan. My personal diet, and I think my personal recommendation, is called pesco vegetarian, simply means vegetarian plus seafood. But say you're a pure vegan, well, you can get a vegan source of omega-3s, a sea plant. See, as long as the omegas come from the sea, they are the best source because that's where the fish eat theirs. So the omega blend from Juice Plus comes from the sea plant. It's from algae. It's where the fish eat theirs. So I'm a rather purist when it comes to eating. I want to do what Dr. Mother Nature does, and if the fish eat it, it must be good for us. So that's the omega blend from Juice Plus is what we recommend in our medical practice, especially for those who want a vegan source. And finally, if you want more about the smartest fats for the brain, and I'm going to say the 3 smart fats would be, or best fats for the brain, number 1, wild salmon, or any type of wild seafood, but preferably salmon. It's the safest food. Secondly, avocados. Then thirdly, olive oil. Then eggs. An egg a day. Wow. Eggs and coconut oil, all the healthy fats. Those are smart fats for the brain. And so that's the fat talk for the brain, Cheryl. Now, secondly,
okay.
what other foods might the brain want? Well, let's go into the brain for a minute. The brain is the hardest working organ in the whole body. The brain and the eye. The eye is actually part of the brain. Now, what that means, the brain is called a hypermetabolizer. That means it burns more energy per gram of tissue than any other organ. Wow. So what happens when, like an automobile engine, burns a lot of fuel? Our brain burns about 20% of all the blood that our heart pumps out, but it weighs about 1 or 2% of the body. So our brain uses a lot of food energy fuel. So what does it do with all that exhaust? Okay, now exhaust from all the food energy we eat and all the metabolism in the brain creates what's called oxidants. Oxidants are exhaust, rust, wear and tear. And that's what is one of the causes of brain illnesses, that increased wear and tear or degeneration. And what is the tissue that is most prone to oxidation? Fat. Remember, we're fat heads. Ever leave a piece of fresh fish out overnight, smell it in the morning, it stinks, it oxidizes. So, you follow me so far? If the brain is prone to oxidation, what do we need to eat more of? Antioxidants. And what is the greatest source of antioxidants? Dr. Mom told us that. Fruits and veggies. So for a good antioxidant eating or diet would be 13. When in my patients in my office, when they're having brain problems especially, I said, hold up your fist. I want you to eat 13 fistfuls of fruits and vegetables every day. And you get them by making a big smoothie in the morning. Say put 6 or 7 fruits in there. And a big salad in the evening, 6 or 7 vegetables. And they said, oh boy, that's a lot. I think maybe I could get 9 or 10, but at the most. Says, okay, I realize you're like most of us. That's a lot of fruits and veggies. You look at your fist right now, say 13 fistfuls of fruits and veggies every day. That's what your brain wants. Now, if you can't, then you would then add a supplement, a fruit, vegetable, and berry supplement. And that is your Juice Plus Trio. So you see how this all fits in perfectly, where good science and common sense go together. Now the trio, which is fruit, vegetables, and berries, are the most scientifically studied fruit and vegetable supplement on the planet. There is no other. You go to Costco and Walmart and all those. There's no research behind it, and that's why I tell my patients when they come in with their bag of. In fact, this is kind of doctor talk, but we say these patients come in with a bag of supplements, and they go in the top end, they come out in the bottom end, and they never get into the bloodstream. And nobody ever tests them to see that. So before you take any supplement, say, 4 words, show me the science. Is there good science where they've fed lots of people these supplements, drawn blood from them, and find it gets into the bloodstream, called bioavailability? And once it gets in, have they studied these people to find out it does good things for them? And Juice Plus Trio, especially the fruits and veggies, have been studied to meet those 2 scientific criteria. Good bioavailability, meaning they get into the bloodstream, and secondly, they do good things for the skin, the brain, the eyes, the gut, the immune system, the heart, all the organs we want to get better. And then in a minute, I'm going to talk more about the bloodstream, how it helps the bloodstream. But so what we do in our office when I have a patient with any type of mental illness or brain problems, I prescribe for them on my prescription pad. I say, I want you to take a 2 to 4 to 6, however many you need, of the Omega Blend for the omegas for your brain, a healthy fat supplement, and I want you to take the Trio, 2 capsules of the smoothies, 2 capsules of the berries, the veggies, and the fruits. And Cheryl, I'm beginning to start this whole fat talk at an earlier and earlier age. And now I start at 6 months of age.
Oh, I think that's amazing.
So when a mom comes in with a baby at 6 months of age, we have the fat talk. The fat talk. You're feeding an old fat head. That's when you begin solids. So now what we begin with in our low fat heads, avocados as the first food. So avocados at 6 months, salmon at 7 months. Bingo. You're feeding old fat heads. So that's sort of a long story about how we feed the brain the smartest way.
Well, I love it, and I really think it's wonderful that it's being discovered or recognized, or there's awareness that really points to this, so that people can make a difference for their children. Almost as you say, from the time they're born until waiting until school years or early teen years, and we see things that we never saw before, like you said, depression and all of the ADs, did you call it?
Yes, all the Ds.
All the Ds and the A's with the ADHD and all of those types of things that are so prevalent. Tell us a little bit more, if you would, about the Omega Blend. In our organization, we're starting to call the Trio plus Omega kind of like the core 4, the very basis, the core of what the body needs. But
yes.
Tell us a little more about the Omega Blend that we have in relation to children. If you're looking at a toddler or a first grader, or
Sure.
what would you just follow the normal amount as far as what the child's going to consume?
Yes, Cheryl.
That's about sharing omegas.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because, see, again, in the field of nutrition, health and nutrition, there's a lot of not so good science, a lot of these weird ideas, and everybody's coming up with new stuff, diets and all, they don't last. So I want to go back to the basic science. What does work and what to last? So first of all, you want to feed a baby smart foods at the very time when the brain is growing the fastest. Okay? That makes sense.
Yeah.
So the brain grows the fastest. in the last 3 months of pregnancy. So this is why we have the Fathead Talk with moms around the 5th or 6th month of pregnancy. And we have them go on 1 gram a day of the omegas during the last 3 months of pregnancy, especially during pregnancy. A lot of women can't really stomach fish, shall we say. So that's the first stage, is the last 3 months of pregnancy, 1 gram a day for the mom. So I draw a little picture. We have in our book, the Healthy Pregnancy book, we have a baby in the womb, picture of a funny-looking baby in the womb, smiling, and saying to Mom, 1 gram a day, I say. Now, what's interesting, see, what's good for baby is good for mommy in pregnancy. A new discovery, a few years ago, they discovered that one of the commonest causes of postpartum depression and postpartum blues was an omega-3 deficiency in mom.
Wow.
Because that little fathead during the last 3 months of pregnancy, and especially during the first 3 months of breastfeeding, literally sucks the omega-3s out of mom, so the baby gets enough, but mom doesn't. So this is why it's doubly important that a pregnant mother and a breastfeeding mother really take 1 gram a day of the omegas. Now, getting up to around the first year of age, the brain triples in size in the first few years. So you have that's the next window of opportunity, where a very easy way to remember is about 100 milligrams of omega-3s per year. So a 2-year-old would get 200, a 3-year-old would get 300, 4-year-old, and that's probably a good rule of thumb. It's a lot higher dosage than we used to think. And so that's a kind of a rule of thumb, 100 milligrams per year. And then when they get up into the preteens, 10-year-olds, they can take a full gram to make it easy to remember. And finally, on the omegas, if you want to read more, there's so much fascinating information about omegas. I'm going to give you 2 books to references to read. The simplest one is our newest book called the Dr. Sears T5. T5 stands for Transform 5 Wellness Plan, 5 changes in 5 weeks. And it's got a whole section on brain health and smart foods, seafood, smoothies, salads, smart supplements, snacking, that type of thing. And then if you really want to go deeper into a very highly scientifically referenced book on omegas, you can get what's called the Omega-3 Effect. It's a book I wrote about 5 years ago in Making Science Simple, where I have a character called Dr. Omega III. And you take a visit to Dr. Omega III. He's an ologist, a neurologist, ophthalmologist, cardiologist, gastroenterologist, perinatologist, gynecologist. It's kind of every system, Dr. Omega III is good for you. So that's the omega-3 effect. Those are 2, let's say, homework for our listeners. If you really want to read the fascinating research about how omega-3s were discovered and why omegas are so healthy for every organ of the body.
And that sounds great. And maybe just share with us, with our own omegas we've just come up with, the Omega Blend, how does our product more or less stand out?
Yes.
You look at the whole array of omegas that are, available to people, and there's so much, that is recommended for both children and adults today. How would you say that ours more or less stands out in the crowd?
Yes, Sarah. You and I have been with the Juice Plus company so long, and I call it the Juice Plus family, and it's just we're proud family members. So all of you listening, welcome to a family. It's not only great health club is just a great family where we all take care of one another and help one another, like with calls like this. But the unique feature about the Juice Plus Omega blend is the source of the omegas, the omega-3s, especially the omegas, is the algae. The most expensive source for omega-3s are algae. That's the omega-3s they put in baby formula, and they're very picky about what babies get. So that's the unique feature, Cheryl, of the omega blend, is the source of the omega-3s, it being a vegan source, a algae source, the original Dr. Mother Nature's source of omega-3s is where the fish get there. So that's the unique feature of the omega blend, and it's one of the most costly sources. That's why you can get cheap fish and grind them up and all that, but algae is an expensive source. That's why it took them so long to develop the right source and get it right and everything. So that's the unique feature, is kind of show me the source, and the source is what Dr. Mother Nature would have recommended.
That's and for people like me, it's especially amazing because I'm highly allergic to seafood. I mean, for me, if I got a hold of a shrimp, I'd have to get to the emergency room if I didn't have an EpiPen, okay? But it's very exciting to be able to get the omegas.
Sure, and it doesn't taste fishy either. It doesn't taste fishy either, which is nice.
Right. And, we have here, he's now a 7-year-old, but this was something that when my daughter was pregnant that they recommended a lot of omegas, and then he's had those from birth, and he is kind of a brainchild. But of course, I'm his grandmother, so I believe anything. But it really is a very, very healthy child, and I think that probably is, the foundation of all of these. Plus, of course, since he was, in vitro in the womb as well. So he's never missed that either. So it's
well, good for you, grandmother. You taught her well.
But let me ask you, with children, like for him, we usually give him 2 of the omegas a day. We're doing okay with that, you think?
Yeah. Again, do the math. Look on the bottle, on the milligrams, and as long as the 2 most important for brain health are DHA and EPA. Those are right on the nutrition label of every omega-3, every omega bottle, especially the Juice Plus blend. And you add those up to be you get about say if it's a 2-year-old, so a 3-year-old, you'd probably get 2 capsules a day.
Okay. So, and he's a little.
They don't taste fishy. They taste good, and they're non-allergic, as you say, and the capsules are made from a very, very reliable source. Everything about it's just one big health food. So that's why it's very safe to give to children. That's
wonderful to know, and that's important because, for so many things, you go into the various health food stores, things of that nature, and invariably on the back it'll say not to be used during pregnancy or with children. I mean, so it's really hard sometimes when people are told do this, do that, but then, not for children, not for pregnancy. You see that on so many labels. And I think we're very fortunate that what we have is safe for everyone from before birth through life, all the way along. And that's very, very powerful. Yeah. Anything else you would like to share with us?
Well, and the young kids, you want to feed the brain the smartest foods at the time of their lives when the brain is growing the fastest, which is the first 7 or 8 years, especially the first 5 years. Wow. Reaches 90% of its adult volume by 5 years of age. So that's that first window of opportunity. But the second is when we get older, the brain starts becoming a really picky eater. I'm going to use the age 50, maybe even earlier, is when the brain actually starts needing smarter foods or it starts deteriorating. And that's when another window of opportunity for the gram a day of the omega blend.
Mm-hmm. I'm making notes here. I've got one under 8 and one over 50.
Yeah, and in fact, the juice, and that's why for antioxidants too, the Juice Plus Trio. Juice Plus is the only nutritional supplement I take because as a doctor, I'm a show me the science person, and it makes good sense. Concentrated fruits and vegetables and berries, I need that, and it has good science behind it. So that is the only nutritional supplement I started taking about 20 years ago when my Nurse Martha, my wife of 51 years, doctors marry nurses because we live longer, she insisted that I take the Juice Plus. She just looked at me one day and with that beautiful feminine look, and she said, "Just take it." Yes, dear.
That's awesome.
And that's when I started studying all the science behind it, and it's been the only nutritional supplement that I have been taking for the last 20 years.
Well, and I think that's a very powerful statement because we know how involved you are in nutrition, how you have really dedicated so much of your life and your learning to nutrition and children's health and nutrition. And to say that, I think, is just huge because, the one thing people usually do is, I think if they're wise, is they find out what their doctor's doing,
Yeah.
and then they want to do the same thing. So,
well, I'll tell you a doctor story then, Cheryl. Since you asked what a doctor's doing, and we doctors try to be good models. We're not always. So I'm a. This is important to show you what a great family Juice Plus is. So back on the 15th of last February, I had my yearly checkup where I go to the doctors, and I almost canceled it because I felt fine. I felt fine. I used to, in fact, Martha was kidding me. I'd brag in my talks, everything works and nothing hurts, which at age 78, that's kind of cool.
That's very
and
cool.
And so I went in my doctor's, had routine tests, everything passed everything. So I get a call 2 days later, and I can tell by listening to the doctor on the phone, he's very, very concerned. And he says, Bill, I'm sorry, I've got very not good news for you. Your blood count came back showing that you have a very early stage of leukemia. But the good news is it was caught early, and it's the type of leukemia that you've taken such good care of yourself that it can be totally curable. So I go on this medicine right away called targeted therapy. It's a type of chemo. And I go back in 23 days later. Now, meanwhile, right after I got the diagnosis, if I were working for a lot of companies, I'd want to keep it quiet. But the first thing I did is I told my whole Juice Plus family that, hey, the doctor's sick. The doctor needs your prayers. I need your support. Any ideas you have, any help. So I got hundreds of responses. We're praying for you. Here's what you might try. We're thinking about you. We wish you well and everything. So that family support, and there's something we doctors never really understand it, but there's something about what's called friends and family support, that people who have an illness, a serious illness, when the friends and families gather around them and saying, we're thinking about you, we're praying for you, we love you, that type of thing, they heal better. This effect is the biggest mystery in medicine. So, long story short, I go in 23 days later after the diagnosis, and my doctor looks at me, big eyes, says, what on earth are you doing? Your blood count's completely normal.
Wow.
and they used it's complete hematologic remission. Just means the cancer is gone.
Wow. Well,
now, I still have to take medicine
I
so it
love
doesn't
that
come back.
story, and I've read this before, and you kind of see it, but you don't know how to explain it. Something about the power of collective thought focused in one direction.
Yeah,
it's just very, very powerful, and
it is a powerful club. That's why I call it the best health club I've ever joined. And so I told my doctor, I said, well, I take lots of fruits and vegetables, and I showed him a picture of my tower garden in the backyard. I say that's my pharmacy, FARM.
I love it.
and he's looking at me. Well, whatever you've been doing,
just do it.
Keep doing it. And I realized, Cheryl, what taught me the lesson was, I call it preloading. That when we start getting older, no matter how good a care we take of ourselves, things happen. But if you've preloaded your body with tons of fruits and vegetables and omegas and tower gardens and just eating off the land and just real food like we talked about tonight, when something happens, your immune system, what's happened, your immune system inside says, hey, we're already preloaded and ready to fight for you. Right. You fed us well, and so we're soldiers inside that you fed us well, and so we're ready to fight. And we're going to just heal your cancer, and that's what happened.
And I'm I didn't know this, and I'm so happy that you're well, and but I'm also happy that, you not only have the support, you have the foundation as far as the knowledge and then the food and then the supplements with Juice Plus. And I feel so lucky in myself and my family that we've known about this for 25 years. We've consumed it for 25 years. I know it has to give us an edge. It has to. So that's wonderful. I'm so glad that it's worked out that way. And such a beautiful message tonight. Thank you so much, so much for being with us. And we all feel very blessed and honored that, you do love Juice Plus and that you do share with us, and that you are part of our family. We really, really are happy about it, admire you, and are just blessed to have you come and talk with us tonight.
Well, thank you, Cheryl. It's been my pleasure to do so.
Thank you. And
you know what? We call this the Helper's High in the Juice Plus family, that there may be just a few people listening tonight that, Cheryl, something you said or something I said, because of what they heard, they're going to live happier and healthier and longer. So you and I get off the call, and we have this really good feeling that this has been time well spent, that what we've said tonight helps another person be happier. So thank you for putting it together.
Well, and thank you for being part of it, and what a beautiful message. And for everyone out there, it's the same message that you carry, each and every one of you, because you never know what you're going to say, what information you're going to bring to somebody, what event they're going to attend, what they're going to hear, or from who. It really will. I mean, it'll totally change their lives. And we do see those markers in our own lives, and thank you so much, Dr. Sears. Beautiful. Thank you.
You're
welcome,
night, folks.
Good night, folks.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you so much. Good night.